Okay, now we're going to do some math. We're going to start a new chapter in math. We're going to learn how to tell time. Woohoo! Telling time. Yeah, all right. Telling time is always good because it's always good to know what time it is, when you should be somewhere, how long it's going to take to get there, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to start real slow and then move on to the harder stuff later on. So you will need your math book. We're going to do lesson 24.1 on page 523. And what we're doing is we are exploring 1 minute. 1 minute is 60 seconds, okay? Doesn't seem that long. If we were in class, I would time you running in place for 60 seconds. Yeah, you think it's real like that. But in all the years I've done it, by the end of 60 seconds, over half of the class is huffing and puffing because they had to run in place for 60 seconds. So when you're doing something active like that, it takes a lot. It seems like it takes a lot longer than just like that, right? Okay, so what we're looking at is what can happen in 1 minute, okay? So these activities that we can do. How many times or like how long does it take you to brush your teeth? Does that take 1 minute or longer than 1 minute? Hopefully longer than 1 minute, right? Hopefully longer than 1 minute. What about chewing a bite of food, taking a bite? Probably less than a minute. Walk to the next classroom. When you walk from our classroom to 3rd grade or walk from our classroom to the lunch tables, does that take a minute? Probably a little longer than a minute, maybe a minute. Getting a glass of milk, probably about a minute. So how about, let's see if it takes a second or a minute. So crossing your arms, everybody cross their arms. Did that take a minute or a second? Takes a second, right? What about unlocking your bike chain? I know some of you might not know what there's Dee Dee. Some of you might not know what a bike chain is, but it's a lock that you put on your bike so it doesn't get stolen. Dee Dee, get down. And that's going to take about a minute. Okay, let's look at page 523. Yeah, that's my cat. He's really old. It says there are 60 seconds in 1 minute. It takes about 1 second to turn a page in a book. It takes about 1 minute to count from 1 to 60. Sorry. So about how long will it take? Circle the better answer. So to throw a football, does that take about a second or a minute? Takes about a second. Good. Swim across the pool. Does that take about a second or a minute? Those of you that have ever swum across a pool know it takes longer than a second, right? So let's look at the back. About how long will it take? Circle the better choice. Read a story, more than a minute or less than a minute? More than a minute. It will take you more than a minute to read Thunder Cake. Take a walk, more than a minute or less than a minute? Good, that one will be more than a minute also. Sorry. Sneeze, does that take more than a minute or less than a minute? Less than a minute, right? That was my fake sneeze. Put on a hat, more than a minute or less than a minute? Probably less than a minute, okay? So let's look at problem solving. Ted draws a face in 10 seconds. Juan draws a face in 1 minute. How many faces could Ted draw while Juan draws one face? So how many seconds are in a minute? 60 seconds. If it takes him 10 seconds to draw a face, how many tens are in a minute? Okay. And then number 6, Kendra can draw 1 flower in 20 seconds. She wants to draw 2 flowers. Will this take more than a minute or less than a minute? And then you also need to do number 3 and 4 on page 523. And you need to do PW, 148. Okay? See you in a little bit for some grammar and phonics.